to see where this goes. I ain't got no home, I'm just rambling around. Hard working man, going town to town. Police make it hard for everyone to live. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. I'm farming on the shelves and my wheels out the food. My crops out of way. Sisters, they came walking down that road. It's a hot and dusty road that a million feet have trod. And the rich man took my house and he chased me from my door. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. I ain't got no home, I'm just rambling around. A hard-working man, now I go down to town. The police make it hard wherever I go. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Now I'm just a gambler, just to see what I can see. It's a wide, wicked world. It's a funny place to be, 'cause you know that the gambling men get rich while the working people stay poor. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. I ain't got no home, I'm just rambling around. Hard-working man, going down to town. Well, the police make it hard wherever I go. I ain't got no home in this world anymore. Yes, I ain't got no home in this world anymore. I ain't got no home in this world anymore.
Boogie Holger.
Go over there, just for John Actor. Sly little Bob, Hawaiian representative here today. We've got
Well, I would like to introduce this young man on the 11th of this month will be 102 years old. I think that he's the oldest member of the Illinois Labor History Society. Yeah, I think so. and Lester was one of the founding members of the society. The founding president of the Labor History Society, and now Emeritus. How wonderful! How wonderful! Yeah. And I first met you when you were at the Meat Cutters, Amalgamated Meat Cutter and Butcher Workmen of North America. And you were doing the booklet Cry for Justice, which was the booklet about the mural paintings that were done around the city of Chicago, the Wall of Respect, and a lot of the wondrous murals that are really that cry for justice.
Yeah, well, my name's Roger. I'm from New Zealand. and I'm an organiser for the Meat Workers Union that covers slaughtering and cutting. It's an important industry in New Zealand, a big export industry. We've got about, at peak, about 20,000 members, I suppose, throughout the country. Interesting to be in Chicago, which of course used to be the centre for the meat industry here. And in New Zealand, the meat industry is not under quite the same attack as it is in the United States, but it's kind of moving that way. And it's a hard industry, tough industry. I've worked in it all my life. I worked on the line for 17 years, and I've been an organiser since 1974. Done enough?
And tell us about the plaque today.
Okay, well, we're over here. Me and my mate, he works for the Public Service Association over in New Zealand, organiser. We were coming anyway, and then we decided, hey, we're going to be about near Chicago on May Day. Let's contact people. So he got hold of Larry, and correspondence sent it by email, and then gradually we decided, okay, we have a plaque here in the Haymarket on May Day, and we're very, very happy to be here, very honoured to be here.
On May 4th, 1886, a group similar to this came here to Haymarket. They're fighting for the 8-hour workday because they fought for something that was right. Labor leaders, labor activists gave their lives to the gallows. My name is Bob Reiter. I'm a labor activist, organizer, and secretary-treasurer of Chicago Federation of Labor. And I want to thank you on behalf of my organization for being here on what we consider to be the real Labor Day, International Labor Day, May Day. We got a tight program today because there's an immigrant march coming through that we're going to be joining. Because as you know, the labor movement is a movement of immigrants. We're fighting to bring 14 million people out of the shadows because we know that they'll be union members. Before we get started, there's a couple of people here today that I want to make sure we acknowledge. First is a man who helped build the Illinois Labor History Society, one of the organizations participating here with us today, Mr. Les Orear. It's almost 90 degrees here on May 1st. Les Orear is 102 years old. Let's hear one more time for Les Orear. Voice in the labor movement than Terry O'Sullivan, General President of Labor's International Union of North America. You're going to hear him at Federal Plaza today. Let's hear it though for Terry O'Sullivan. We're going to jump right into it. There's one guy that I know is dedicated not only to the labor movement, but also protecting immigrant worker rights. And it's a guy that I get the pleasure of working with every day. President of the Chicago Federation of Labor, the first Latino president of the Chicago Federation of Labor, my friend Jorge Ramirez. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Happy May Day.
Mike.
It was about 125 years ago, on this same patch of land here, a lot of the brick pavers that you see in the alleyway here were some of the ones that were around back then. They were preserved as part of this memorial. And when you think about it, the people that died 125 years ago, most of them were immigrants, right? Believing that there's a valid struggle to put their life and their community in danger in fighting the 8-hour day. They lost their lives because of that. So what will people say about us 125 years from now? What are we willing to fight for? The same problems, the same injustices that existed back then exist now. They present themselves in a different face and in a different way. But the injustice is real. So on behalf of the labor movement, I want to thank everybody else that's here today, because the same patchwork quilt that was here 125 years ago is here in the crowd today. You have labor, you have community, you have faith-based, you have political, you have education, you have community, you got everybody here, right? And like I said, what will people say about the group that is here and the group that is the community leaders now 125 years from now? Amen. Think about that, because the fight is coming. We're about to join and leave this event here and join with the march to Federal Plaza with the immigrant rights supporters to make sure that our voice is added to that movement as well, to show our full support. Those of you from labor know that meaningful, comprehensive labor reform isn't in the cards in the near future. We know that now. Maybe some other time in the future, but not in the immediate future. The biggest game changer we have is comprehensive immigration reform, to bring those 11 million people out of the shadows and into the sunlight, to let them exercise their choice, free of interference and intimidation from their employers, to decide whether or not they want to join a union, whether or not they want to be meaningful participants in their community without fear of being deported. It's about keeping families together. Everything that the immigrant rights struggle is everything the labor movement is about. I want to thank the labor leaders that are here today, especially the ones that I have pleasure to serve with on my board from the Chicago Federation of Labor. Bob mentioned another great national labor leader that's with us today that is going to be speaking at Federal Plaza, a dear friend of ours, a dear friend of the Chicago labor movement, the labor movement nationally and abroad. Terry O'Sullivan, President of Labor's International Union, is here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for lending your powerful voice to this struggle, for everything that you do. So it's up to us. What are we going to do?
Fight!
That's right, we're going to fight. What are we going to do?
Fight!
Fight! That's right. What are we going to do?
Fight!
Why are we going to do it? Because it's right. We're going to do what?
Fight!
Why? Because it's right. That's exactly right. When we join this march, make sure that our voice is heard. Make sure that we understand why we're out here in this weather. Make sure that people understand that we're willing to do it, whether there's sun, snow, sleet, shine, whatever it is that we're out here, because this fight is the right fight. Thank you.
To Chicago, I think out in Maywood, right? Broadview. It's important work. It's important work to recognize that Chicago is a sanctuary city. That immigrants, whether you're a Latino, whether you're Polish, whether you're from anywhere in the country, that you have a place to seek refuge. So I want to thank Elena for being here. Elena, it's all yours.
I want to begin by sharing with you an encounter I had at a Broadview Detention Center last Friday. After assisting families of deportees, I was in the visitation area where people in deportation request to come to talk with an aunt. Here I met Manuel Alvarado, who lived in Indianapolis. His face struck me. What struck me most about Manuel's face was the color of his eyes, which became scarlet red with the intense pain of his personal story. Manuel shared that only 3 weeks ago, as he was getting ready early in the morning to go to work, ICE appeared at the doorstep of his home and took him away. Manuel said, at that moment, I couldn't think the exact reason where they were taking me and why. But half an hour later, I did. 19 years ago, I received an order to present myself to a hearing and did not go for fear of deportation. Since then, for the past 19 years, I have been working in a roofing company, work which I have enjoyed. I asked, do you have children? Yes, 4. He cried. We cried. A moment later, I found in my bag this image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, the symbol of Virgin Mary for Mexicans in Latin America. Manuel, I said, look at her. She has walked with the poor, the worker, the oppressed since her appearance during the Spanish oppression, and with the workers in this country during Cesar Chavez, and even now with these unjust laws that is separating you for your family and your work. Could you make me a promise? I asked. Promise me, whatever destiny is taking you now, you and all people who are fighting for immigration reform will live together in a spirit of solidarity. Join this community from wherever you are. Fight with hope, with prayers that this year is a year for justice, the year for justice, is the year of hope. Manuel, this year is a new year. Democrats and Republicans, business and labor, faith communities, grassroots are working together for immigration reform. Let's stay connected in hope, in spirit, in determination until you come back. Faith and determination have been pivotal to the labor movements in our history and now to our journey for immigration reform. Workers got tired of being abused and fought for fair and just wages. Immigrants got tired from living under the shadows in society and from the oppressive economic systems that push them to leave their homeland for this country to pursue of better pay. In whatever situation persons encounter themselves, their human rights are God-given gifts. I'm glad that immigrants in the Archdiocese of Chicago have a shared spirit to recover from the failure of immigration reform of 2007 are learning that it is our right, not an option, to be respected as human beings just as we respect others. It is our faith that's lighting the shadows and empowering immigrants to speak up, to recognize the gifts they have, to identify the needs and rights of their communities, and to become leaders who connect faith and life. I have been working on immigration issues since 1986. So this latest journey for immigration reform is not new to me. What is new to me, is the inspiration I received from the labor movement. I very much appreciate the support and solidarity and empowerment I received myself from the Chicago Federation of Labor, its president, Jorge Ramirez. It is fascinating that Jorge's father, Ramirez, who I never met, has touched me enormously through his faith and determination, his humility, wisdom, and his spirit of justice for workers' rights. I do believe in the spirit of our heroes. I see Cesar Chavez, Martin Luther King, Monsignor Egan in our march today, waving the banner of justice. Their spirits are not dead. They are alive and encouraging us today. So blacks and Latinos, Caucasians and Asians, together fight as one community. Thank you, brothers and sisters of the labor movement, for your example of faith and determination. ¡Viva el 1 de mayo! ¡Viva la clase obrera! ¡La reforma migratoria triunfará!
Solidaridad!
All right, brothers and sisters, who makes America happen? Who makes America happen? We all do, all around the world. That's what the Labor History Society has been saying. And in 1969, when Les Orear and Studs Terkel and our friend Ed Sedlowski, who's recovering, who says hello to all of you, and various others, the Haymarket Workers Memorial Committee is going to preserve this spot so workers around the world will come year after year to the spot that created International Labor Day will be remembered. And here we are with a monument. And every year since this monument was dedicated in 2004, we have a plaque from Japan, we have a plaque from Mexico, we have a plaque from the APPLAUDS, we have a plaque from Iraq, we have a plaque now from New Zealand, which we'll unveil in a moment. But I want to thank all of you who are beginning to realize that if we're not connected internationally, if we're not connected by our common thread of dignity, which is that we all work around the world to make a few people rich, and that's going to change because we're going to organize. Labor history will be the poetic justice of America. I want to bring up two men who traveled as far as you could travel to be here in Haymarket. And I want to bring up Roger Middlemass and John Shannon. Please come on up. They came from New Zealand because they recognize that this is the spot of social and economic justice for workers everywhere, of every stripe. Roger is an organizer with the Meatpackers Union. Roger has organized his entire life. John Shannon happens to be a brother and sister of public employees around the world. His public service administration, his union, from the province of Manawatu. Did I say that right?
Close.
He'll tell you more about who he is, but we pay homage to them, and we thank them with deep gratitude because they join us to remember labor history. So John, will you tell us a little about your struggle?
Thank you, Larry. I'll just opening in the language of the indigenous people of New Zealand, the Maori people, and give you a translation as we're going through. Te he Moriora, I stand to speak. Ko te reo tine o kai mahi kawe. This is the voice of the New Zealand Council of Trade Unions. Ko te reo tine o Aotearoa. This is the voice from the land of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Ngā mihi mō tēnei whakatau. Thank you for your greetings and welcome. Ka mihi ki te tangata whenua o Illinois. We acknowledge the indigenous peoples of this region, Illinois. Ka mihi ki naha te puna o tēnei rohe. We acknowledge all the ancestors of this region and those represented by all of us gathered here today. Nā reira ki a koutu katoa I manama. Therefore, to all of us who are single-hearted and unified in our commitment to the workers of the world, tēnā koutu, tēnā koutu, tēnā tātou katoa. I greet you all, I greet you all, I greet and extend our greeting to all of us gathered here today. Coming around the world, Roger and I have really seen the emphasis on how apart we are, the thousands of miles that we have to travel to get here. But we've also discovered great similarities between Aotearoa, New Zealand and America. For example, in the past, in the 1860s, you had the American Civil War, that terrible experience of industrial death, where at the same time the only other significant war going on in the world was the British involvement in New Zealand in subduing the Maori people of Aotearoa. We also have shared similar political ideas in the 1880s. Around the time of the massacre here, the Knights of Labour and the IWW, the Wobblies, were very active. They were also very active in New Zealand and greatly influenced the foundation of the trade union movement. Way before jet planes and the internet, workers were able to communicate bold new ideas internationally and continue to do so. Racial oppression has been a blight on both our societies. New Zealand was the first, Aotearoa New Zealand was the first nation to extend voting rights to women. But both America and Aotearoa New Zealand have struggled with pay equity and other key women's rights issues. But today we don't just look at the past, we look to today. Today workers struggle for what they have always struggled for what the Haymarket martyrs died for. A better life and a fairer society. Under the capitalist system, there will always be an inherent inequality of power between bosses and workers. Unions, organised labour, provides the only possible way for workers of the world to stand up for their rights and to be able to win a fair share of the world's wealth. And we lived just in this last week or so through a time where 386, mainly women workers, were killed in a factory collapse in Bangladesh, making clothing for you here in America and for us in New Zealand. Those people, we have to stand up for them.
Yeah.
We must also look to the future. The capitalist system is rapidly changing. The rich are taking increasingly unfair amounts of the world's wealth. The multinational corporations are becoming more powerful than nation states. Jobs are being casualised and transported across borders to drive down wages and conditions won by our predecessors. But workers too can and should become united. We must focus on what brings us together as workers. We must focus on what gives us power, union power. Thank you, Larry, and to the Illinois Labour History Project for the plaque that we're about to unveil. We hope that this will ensure a continuing close relationship between our history projects. The trade union movement in Aotearoa, New Zealand salutes here today the Haymarket martyrs back so long ago. We pledge our commitment to you, the workers of America, to do our part to advance the cause of trade unionism. We want to work with you to ensure a better life for all workers of the world and to create fairer, more just societies for working families to live in. Kia kaha, be strong.